A pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown. Our guest menu in the second hour, Jaguar Athletic Group members of the Jaguar Athletic Group will join us once again to give us information on what's going on, what the organization is about, and what they're planning to do. Different many projects to help Southern University student athletes. Now, here's what's trending. 2026 SWAC Softball Tournament Championship starts Tuesday. Southern University, 2 in the West. Preview, number 1 in the West. And in the East, FAMU. But when it's all said and done, there'll be one champion crowned. The 2026 SWAC Softball Tournament Championship starting Tuesday in Gulfport, Mississippi. Also, the NCAA moves closer to expanding the women's and men's basketball tournament. We'll get the panel's perspective on that, particularly Coach Van Pettaway. Southern University baseball continues their hot winning streak. They're in Mississippi Valley State for a 3-game series. They lead that series 1-0 after Friday night. Can we say who's trending upward? Who's hot? The Southern Jaguars, and of course, Bethune-Cookman as well. NBA playoffs, win or go home. They're starting to narrow it down. Some interesting ball games, some interesting game 7s coming up. Also, last week we talked about having a conversation, and we'll get it in. Is the conference ready to be more than just SWAC good in all sports? That's what's trending on today's show. Brian Fulford is producing for us. Let's bring in the panel one by one. Good afternoon, Willa Brown, A.D. Willa Brown, the hardliner from Baltimore.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Coach Van Pettaway. He's in Central Standard Time.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
And Charles Edmond seems like he's somewhere in the.
This is where I am, Carlos.
Is that a man cave?
Jackson State softball. This is where I am right now in their press box. We've got a baseball against Jackson State at 3:00. So Coach Montgomery, the softball coach, allowed me to use his press box too. And this is where we are. So I'm in Jackson today as we finish up at least the series. Softball starts next week, but I appreciate Coach Montgomery giving me the access.
Kudos. We appreciate it. Let's get started. 2026 SWAC softball tournament championship starts Tuesday. Let me say this: Southern softball has made tremendous stride. They went undefeated at home. I think that was the first time in history, and you have seen the improvement from the first year Coach Williams to now. So kudos to Southern University softball team. But we got a graphic we're going to put up. It kind of gives you how everything's going to be situated. And Charles, are you on the call for the softball
tournament?
Okay.
Yep. Me and Simone Stanley we'll do the tournament wall-to-wall coverage with interviews and all that. So yeah, looking forward to that. I'll be in Gulfport tomorrow, and practice starts Monday, and the tournament starts Tuesday. You know, it's a lot of storylines, a lot of great storylines. As you mentioned, Southern University, one of the best seasons they've had. We'll see what Coach Williams does in the tournament. But the storyline to me, one of the biggest, is Jackson State right here going for their 3rd straight softball tournament championship. And so that's one of the big storylines. But Southern University is red hot, doing well. Florida A&M won the East. You know, Brittany Beal, her 2nd season, you know, she made it to the SWAC championship last year. She won the East in year 2, coming from the high school ranks. And it just shows you that maybe we're seeing a different dynamic where coaches that come into this league can win right away. And Coach Beal has done that. And for the first 2 seasons, Southern University, as well, you can't forget about Vernon Bland and Prairie View.
Yeah.
You know, they had the big series at Southern last week. He got thrown out of a game, which, I mean, Vernon Bland very rarely gets hot as fish grease, but he was at some of the calls that got tossed. That's very unusual for Coach Bland, but I think that and the fact that the West has improved. So there's a lot of good storylines with softball. Looking forward to it and crowning a champion next week.
Well, it's interesting because sometimes you always talk about um, controversial, the strike zone in basketball, home cooking. Let's not talk about home cooking for softball because
No,
look, they got the sweep, and that's important. But you know what? Now everything's 0-0.
yep.
You mentioned Jackson State, FAMU, Prairie View, Texas Southern, and if we look, Charles, the first game of the tournament is going to be at 10:30 a.m. Jackson State and Texas Southern. Then game, let's see if I'm saying it right. Game 2, Southern and Bethune-Cookman, 2 seed versus a 3 seed. Then you have game 3, Prairie View A&M and Alabama State, and then it's Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and FAMU. So I think right off the bat, if we kind of look at it, the teams that are kind of in the favorite slot, we'll see how it goes right off the bat for them in the opening day.
Well, there's another story too out there, Carlos. You know, Bethune-Cookman, and somebody just made a post about Laura Watton, her team in the tournament. As good as they do in the regular season, they're on the verge of breaking through in the tournament. They seem to get to the bracket final and just don't have enough pitching. So I don't want to sleep on Bethune-Cookman. I don't want to sleep on Texas Southern either. So I think this, you know, when you get to the softball tournament, all bets are off. There were some games last week that needed to be played to get in. They got 100% rule in getting in all the games. We had a game against Grambling that wound up being as a tie because it was a 10-10 game. Instead of Grambling making the trip to Alcorn and having to spend the resources to play maybe one inning, they just called it a tie. And so you had that, you know, and I think softball did it right. I mean, you got one full week. The regular season ended last week. This week was about getting in makeup games. And I thought it was really smart for the softball committee and for softball to do that, to make sure you get all the games in. Maybe baseball will adopt that at some point in time. But, you know, I'm glad that softball's doing that to make sure, because seedings were at stake. And so these games need to be played.
Charles, you remember back in the day with the baseball and Coach Kadar?
No.
And Kadar, look, Wheeler and Coach Pettaway, Kadar said, no, we're not going to play it. We'll just take the 2 seed. Because if they would have got that game in, Charles, it was a possibility to, you know, for seeding purposes. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But Coach Kadar was like, the heck with that. We're just going to get ready for the tournament. You know.
I don't know if that, you know, unless there's some extreme circumstances, I don't know if that's the case these days. I think there's going to be a commitment to play these games instead of just saying we'll just take the L. And so I think there's a commitment. But I also think, Carlos, there's a financial thing with this as well. Part of the reason why this Grambling Alcorn game was a tie, financially, you're talking about Grambling renting a bus, coming to Alcorn for a couple of innings. That's a several $1,000 trip. And during this time of year, for a lot of our teams, budgets, and Wheeler knows about this, budgeting these spring sports, baseball and softball, you're trying to save a buck or two, because chartering these buses is not cheap unless you got your own. Hotels is not cheap, especially now. So I think financially there's some considerations there too.
Yeah. And, you know, Mother Nature is undefeated.
Yeah.
The old saying, but, you know, that's why I preface it back in the day, man, it was something, you know, it was 80% rule, and then it never could get it past that. And some of the older coaches, the legends, you know, hey, they would fight it out. But Charles, the panel, who's going to win it? We're going right at it, putting it on the spot. In juncture of the regular season, past seasons, past tournament actions, who's got the pedigree, who's got the intestinal fortitude, who has it?
I'm gonna go out there and say that Prairie View A&M gets back on the pedestal. Something about Coach Bland's team. I mean, when they're just so used to being in the championship, they're so used to hoisting that trophy. And last year they didn't. There's just something about them. Of course, during the tournament, don't want to go too far out there. But I think Prairie View is loaded for bear. And I think FAMU and Coach Beal is hungry to get back. I mean, if you remember how Jackson won the tournament last year, it was a call at first base for a runner leaving early. FAMU was right there. And, and FAMU got some of those calls when they challenged runners leaving early from first base. But then Coach Montgomery came out and challenged that. And with 2 out, Lady Rattler left first early, and Jackson won the championship. So I think Florida A&M, I will put them right up there as well. I think they're hungry to get back there. But there are just so many hungry teams. Alabama State and Coach Patterson, her second year coming from Florida A&M, you can't discount them. I don't think you can discount any team. Even Coach Bumpers at UAPB, he used to be the baseball coach there. And now his team's got some, I just saw them last week. They're a team that can battle and scrap. So I don't think anything is given. I think the teams that have been there, done that, you got to give them a little bit of edge. But when it comes to the tournament, all bets are off.
Coach Pettaway, take a shot at it. Double elimination tournament, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think it'll be FAMU and Prairie View in the championship game. And I see I'm like Charles. I think FAMU is hungry to get back to redeem themselves. So we're going to call it the redemption tour. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say FAMU is going to upset Prairie View in the championship. Redemption. Really? They got something to play for.
I'm gonna go with Jackson State until somebody shows me different. Yeah, I mean, gotta go with the champs. Gotta go with the champs until somebody shows you different. So, I'm gonna stick with them.
Somebody says, there it goes. Don't do it, Carlos.
They don't want you picking their team.
and I actually was leaning strongly to Prairie View.
Go ahead, do it, Carlos. What the hell?
Yeah, I like what Coach Pettaway said. Yeah, I think it's FAMU gets it done. I really do. And I'm serious about that. No. I was thinking about this last night. But, man, it's, you put it, wipe the slate clean, 0-0.
Right.
Man, it's going to be action, SWAC TV, all of the games. Wow. Yeah, Southern University will shock the world. Well, that leads me to who could potentially shock this in this tournament. Who's a dark horse, underdog that can get it done?
Southern University. So Southern University, I think even though they're playing really well, nobody's talking about them. I think you go back to the last few years, Southern has fallen short, but this year that's not the case. I think that's a team that if they get their legs under them and you get momentum, we saw that with Prairie View men's basketball. You get momentum in the tournament, you get a little bit of pitching. And the question about pitching, I think Bethune-Cookman, I think Texas Southern, I think Prairie View, when you talk about pitching, I've always said, Carlos, to win the tournament, you need 4 good arms. 4. We saw many years ago a kid by the name of Bailey Greenleaf at Alabama State and already pitched the whole tournament. 1 arm. I think you need 4. I mean, I think we've seen teams try to get by with 3. I think Jackson probably has 3. Other teams probably have 2.5, 3. But I think pitching is going to be the key. If you wear out 1 arm over a period of days, it eventually catches up with you. So I think that's going to be the key. I think every team can swing the bat. Every team can score some runs. Every team's got speed. But do you have enough pitching to be able to get you through 3-4 days in the tournament?
Right. But Charles, coming into this tournament now, Texas Southern is the hottest team now. They've won 8 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got the momentum going into the tournament. So I think you have to consider Texas Southern as one of the dark horses also.
And that's a team, guys, that just when you get to the tournament, they're a whole nother animal. They look totally different than what you see in the regular season. And so, you got Southern that's hot. You got Texas Southern that's hot. You got the defending champions in Jackson State, as Wheeler Brown said, trying to win 3 in a row. You got Prairie View trying to get back out on top. You got Alabama State that's hungry. So that's what makes this tournament. And you got UAPB that's hungry. So I think, when you get to the tournament, it's just so unpredictable. You know, you're getting that losers bracket, got to fight out of that. You got that first game, then you got to come back and play the first game the next day. Routines are different. It's just an awesome dynamic to see what teams can adjust on the fly, especially when you're in the losers bracket.
Right, and then plus you're on a neutral site, so nobody has the advantage. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and we had a question from the chat room. Joseph Davis said, "Who has the overall best pitching, Charles, softball wise?"
I think you got to look at Southern University. I think you got to look at Bethune-Cookman, and I think you got to look at Texas Southern, as Coach Petaway said. I am seeing a little bit more pitching this year than in years past, where you can just ride one or two pitchers. But I think teams can swing the bat too. So as they say in baseball, good pitching always wins over good hitting. So we'll see which teams can maximize their starters and their bullpen.
Interesting bullpen. I know when we talk baseball, it's always who has the best bullpen, that can bring in and get you out of a spot. I think it's going to be very interesting. I can't wait. And it seems, Charles, maybe you can answer this one. From top to bottom, is this one of the better years, say, in the last 5 years?
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I mean, I think when you look at, it's been Prairie View, it's been Jackson, it's been Prairie View. And now all of a sudden you bring in other teams. You got Bethune-Cookman right on the cusp. Southern University's improved. UAPB, is on the come up. You got a number of teams that are improving their softball program and making the investment in it, just like baseball. I mean, we'll talk about that. You got a couple of teams that have made an investment in baseball, and they're much improved that we didn't even talk about in years past. So I think, yes, overall softball is much improved. I'm just disappointed that my team, the Lady Braves, again, won't be there. And so, but there's a little bit of disappointment there. But overall, I think the softball product is better. I just wish overall we would just have more pitching instead of just 2 arms or 3. I'd like to see 4 or 5, but I know that's a hard dynamic when you're balancing the numbers.
Man, I've seen some of the local colleges here, the starting pitcher in a doubleheader, she'll pitch 8 innings, 7 innings, and then come in relief the next game and pitch 5 or 6. So to Edwin's point, boy, man, those ladies, man, I don't think they get a pitch count per se like in baseball. Am I wrong about that?
No, I mean, but I will say that if you're trying to get to where you need to go in the tournament, you just cannot ride 1 or 2 arms. At some point, it catches up with you. And because, I mean, you're talking about 150 pitches is probably nothing for softball.
No.
So, but you're going to pitch 150 pitches Saturday at 10:30, and I mean Tuesday at 10:30, and then Wednesday at 10:30, another 100. At some point, the hitters catch you. At some point, you just wear down. You're not a robot. At some point, it does happen. So I just, I'd like to see 3 to 4 arms. I think you can mix and match with that. But, just 1 or 2 arms, and I've seen the comments, a couple of arms. I think you need a little bit more than that, especially if a team gets to you. Then, see, that's where coaching comes in. Because when a team gets to you, you got to get that pitcher out, save the pitch count. And if you're planning on bringing that pitcher back the next day, or maybe if you're in the loser's bracket where you win out of that and then you got to play again that same day, there's a lot of dynamics there in terms of trying to mix and match.
2026 SWAC Softball Tournament Championship starts Tuesday. Double elimination, Gulfport, Mississippi. Beautiful complex, Charles. I remember seeing it last year. In case it's like here, it's been kind of a rainy week.
Yeah.
We'll have to check the weather forecast for next week. Or is it?
I saw it already. It looks like the first couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday are okay, but Thursday looks like it could be wet. Well, you got 1,000 fields over there. So the thing is that you can easily get caught up. And that's the last 3 years or so we've had that. You got 2 or 3 games going to get caught up, and we eventually do get caught up. And so I think that's not going to be an issue. But anytime you're down on the coast, it can rain at any time. So you have to be ready for that.
Coach Petaway, April showers bring May flowers.
Yeah.
You know, you need a little rain, a little drought going in this area,
Yeah.
but it all balances out. That's that balance.
Charles, you'll like this one. Huntsville we have just been awarded the SEC softball tournament next year. Yeah, and they're gonna play it at Toyota Field where we had the SWAC baseball tournament one year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Coach Pettaway. That's going to be a big shot in the arm economically for Huntsville. I mean, I'm really surprised that the SEC would move away from where they are. I mean, they're pretty locked in, and so that's a really good thing for Huntsville.
Right. Well, see, the sports commission here, they do a great job, man. They go out and make these bids. So they gave the SEC a bid they couldn't refuse. So that's why the SEC softball will be here starting next year.
I always say it's the lack of money is the root of all evil. The good book says the opposite. We'll take a break here, and then we'll get to number 2, what's trending. And I want to hear from Coach Pettaway. I've heard from different people, different chat groups, about the NCAA committee moves closer to expanding the women's and men's basketball tournament. Now, I hope we don't have to get into a discussion again about one big conference, and we get it. I think it's all a plan by the NCAA. I think they're just going to move the 16 to 15, 15 seed to 14 seed. You're still going to have your first 4.
Going to be the first 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that when we come back. Also, pre-Crenshaw, SU baseball continues their winning streak. Now on a 10-game winning streak.
10 in a row, baby. 10 in a row.
Get that contract ready. Get it ready, Roman Banks.
And also maybe a contract extension and raise for Coach Williams softball.
Get the contract ready, Roman Banks.
And let me say this. If I'm not mistaken, Coach Williams came from the high school ranks. And now on the college. Give her flowers now and a raise and a contract extension, because they've really moved that program up. So I'll double check on that. But if I'm not mistaken, her experience was on the high school level. She got it done. Good assistant. They made some, Title IX improvements, not where they ultimately will be, but they've made some improvements. Right. And so we give her kudos. You're watching.
Then, Carlos, when we come back, can we just throw a little spot in there about the band, please? When we come back after the break.
Wait a minute, hold it. We'll take the break a little minute too.
Carlos, I got you. We're going to hit the band when we come back.
I think I saw something about Alabama A&M. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't want to be nasty. Congratulations. I'm not going to be nasty. Coach Pettaway, I love you to death. But I think now you see the Southern University influence throughout the conference. Check it out there, EA. Huh?
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. The Southern influence has spread throughout the conference.
Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Tuskegee University. Within the last 2 months, all of them have named associates of Jaguar Nation. Southern's influence is all over this state.
Ooh, what was that? As Dr. Griggs would say, often imitated, but never duplicated. On that note, we'll be back. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Here we go. My mic was cut off.
Okay, yeah.
I was saying, Brian Fulford, great timing. Great timing.
William J. Young is his name. William J. Young is the new band director at Alabama A&M.
Breaking news here. 12 p.m., sir. All right. I was trying to get a confirmation, and I'm going to talk about that too from another AD. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, where were we? Back to Alabama A&M and the Jaguar influence. You go into the chat by Joseph says currently 6 former Jukes are now head band directors of SWAC schools, throwing the MEAC in Division II. That influence is strong.
Yes. So we're welcoming William J. Young, and then like I said earlier, Alabama State has a Southern influence along with Tuskegee University. All 3 schools have named somebody with Jaguar influence.
And now when we saw the release about the SWAC and the HBCU SWAC poll and All-America team, and now I think I saw in one of the releases official 5th quarter after the game, so everybody participated, will participate in the bands, and so now everybody it's just like competition, just like on the athletic playing field, with the bands being participated. So congratulations to Alabama A&M.
Carlos, you asked the question about Coach Williams. You are correct. Prior to arriving at Southern, she spent 2 seasons as head coach of East Ascension High School.
Oh, that's a good program.
So you have 2 former high school coaches
that have had
at least
success
in this conference, Coach Beal at FAMU and Coach Williams, that have elevated, made that transition, and are doing pretty well right now. So we talk about hiring coaches from other programs, but now you're saying, at least for softball, a couple of high school coaches coming into the conference and doing some things.
And you could see them building, because the first year was kind of, tough. Second year got better, and then next year, and that's giving somebody an opportunity, because a lot of times it's when we hire somebody. Remember, we're talking about basketball. You've had some success, and you had some failures that didn't get it done. But I'll say it this way: when your softball program is kind of at the lower level, yeah, give them a shot, give them an opportunity to get it done. Coach Pettaway.
Yes.
76 women and men's teams. The NCAA moves closer to expanding the tournament. What is your initial thoughts and perspective?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for some schools additional schools to get in. I don't see this move helping the MEAC or the SWAC now, because all they're gonna do is just to pick teams that were on the bubble, and there's never been a SWAC or a MEAC team on the bubble. They're just going to bring in the other teams that people feel like should have made it the previous year. That's all they're going to do with it. The only thing out of this I would like to see them go back to, because they also own the NIT. I think they need to go back and give the SWAC and MEAC an automatic to the NIT if your champion is upset in the tournament. That's what I would like to see out of this. Yes. But in terms of us, in terms of the SWAC and the MEAC getting another team in, no, we're still going to always be a one bid league, and that's not a knock now, because there's still other conferences out there that they only get one bid also. So it's not like they're discriminating. It's just that they just feel like the lower ranked conferences should only get one bid, and I think that's in some cases that's fair. That's fair. My take is I'm great for the expansion, but unless they allow our champion who might get upset in the tournament in the NIT, then it's a no-brainer for me. No deal.
Yeah, and I guess something to think about in the future. I want to say in certain cases, like I remember seeing Stephen F. Austin and McNeese get into the tournament. That happened a couple of times. That will be the goal, and then we could tie it into when we want to bring up being more than SWAC good. I'm going to step out on the limb and say everybody wants to be more than just SWAC good. You got to win your championships in your conference. That's a given. But that competitive nature, I know if I ask Wheeler, I bet you he's going to say, Wheeler, go past being SWAC good, right?
I gotta see how we measure up. And the only way you do that is to put it out there. Yeah, but you gotta play those guys during the regular season.
And beat them.
Especially from a football point of view, you gotta play them during the regular season. I mean, they know you, but they don't know you. And I say that in terms of, the voting that goes on. You got to be in the top 16 football-wise in order to, possibly get a bid in, that sort of thing. And, if you're not playing these guys or playing guys that these guys know, it's definitely going to damage your resume. There's no doubt about that. And these folks, they're not going to vote for people that they don't know. It's just as simple as that. So if we go 10-0, playing all HBCUs, that sort of thing, I wouldn't look for a bid if 2 of those wins are coming from D2s. But if you go 8-2, and you've played the McNeeses and some of these other guys out there, that sort of thing, you might have a realistic shot to get your foot in the door.
Because, Coach McNair had a couple of victories, at least one, Charles, at Alcorn against McNeese.
Yeah, he did. He did. I don't think it for me. You saw this coming, but is it going to move the needle in terms of getting one more SWAC team in? No, it's not.
Nah.
We've had this. We beat this dead horse to where it's maggots and it's bones and it's skeletons. In order, we're a one bid league. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's just a reality. And until we start winning some games collectively against quad 2 teams, commissioners talked about it. He was the chair of the committee for a few years. I think that still stands. Until that happens, we're just spinning our wheels on that. And so that's kind of where I am on it.
And scheduling collectively, Charles. Also, scheduling collectively.
I don't see that. And look, I have respect for every AD. I know most of them. I just don't see it happening. I think when you're getting emails from your VP of finance to where you got to bring in a certain number of dollars, where they can range from $500,000 to $1 million. We brought in $1 million. I think we're going to bring in another $1 million. I got our men's basketball schedule the other day. It's going to be another $1 million guarantees for this upcoming season. So I don't think that's even a discussion. I really don't. I think you got to do what you got to do for your university financially, because that money helps the whole athletic budget. Some of it's broken off to where your basketball team gets it. But I think that conversation, I don't think, this is my own opinion, I don't think we're even thinking about that. I think we got a team in, whatever the units come with it, the money that comes with it, I think that's good for right now. You talk about SWAC good. I think the answer is yes, because coaches are going to get fired if they don't win enough SWAC games. Now, one coach, and I've been a part of this league since 1988, as far as deep dive in the conference and doing stuff. I don't think there's been a coach in this conference that's been fired solely because he didn't do well in non-conference. If you don't win enough SWAC games, you're going to get fired. Whether it's 2 years, a Carlos Brown contract, 3 years. We just saw in the last football coaching cycle, 3 coaches were fired 2 years in. One football coach went 12-12 and got fired after 2 seasons. So it's about the SWAC. Yes, we talk about it on this show and others, but if you don't win enough SWAC games, Wheeler Brown's going to get that call from the president. You're going to get fired if you don't win enough conference games. Even that may not be enough. Where you've been to the SWAC championship game, if you don't get to the SWAC championship game, you may get fired at some of these other schools that have been there and have won championships. So is SWAC good enough when it comes to coaches' contracts? When it comes to hiring and firing, yeah. For us, we would love to see winning outside. We would love to see it. But from an administrative standpoint, alumni are going to call the president and the board if they don't win enough SWAC games, because they're going to call for the coach's head.
Yeah, somebody need to be called. But that just don't sit right with me. I'm sorry, Coach Pettaway. We had Coach Johnson on, and what did he say? He kind of phrased it as dreaming. But dreams could come reality. If somebody didn't dream, if we always have that attitude, we'll never advance. And that's why I'm putting it on the record. I almost got a third commitment. We got 2 ADs going to come on. And we're going to talk about that. We're not going to argue. We're not going to get mad. If they say, and it's interesting, the 2 ADs that committed have played sports. So that's one thing. And when we talk about basketball ADs, they play. And I'm just wondering, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to say. If they say SWAC good is only good, Coach Pettaway, I'll live with it, because that's what they said. I don't have that attitude. And, man, it's like I have a best friend that's a computer science major. He graduated. He went out into the world. He wants to be the best computer science major. But go ahead, Coach Pettaway.
But Carlos, in our case, being SWAC good or better than the SWAC, man, that takes a lot. Are the alums, are the supporters ready for us to be like that? Just to be competitive in the SWAC, you still got to come up with the NILs and stuff just to do that.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that next week.
If we're talking about going beyond the SWAC, we haven't done what we need to be in the SWAC in terms of the support. All of our best kids are leaving us, man. They're leaving the SWAC, going other places because of the NIL deals. So that's Carlos, that's a big piece when we talk about how good do you want your program to be? Do you want it to be SWAC good, or do you want to go beyond the SWAC? To do either one, you need to support. You got to have it.
I understand. And more importantly, to do either one is going to take time.
Right.
So at the end of the day, that's, my beef ain't whether or not we're going to be SWAC good enough. It's whether or not we're going to get the time to be SWAC good or better than SWAC good. That's the real key right there. If you giving me 2 years to get it done, of course not. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen. If you giving me the requisite 4 years or, that sort of thing, and I'm not getting it done, during that period of time, then fine. I'm expecting to be let go pretty much because I haven't exceeded expectations. But if and from a time point of view, if you're only giving me a year or 2 years, that sort of thing, hell no, I ain't gonna be good for nobody, really. When you look at it.
Well, let me kind of rephrase it. Coach Pettaway, you're a former basketball coach. I understand. I see people comments. We've talked about it. Yeah, you have to have the resources. We know the NIL, but guess what? You're not gonna have the money. Like someone brought up in McNeese, if that's, and I think it's accurate, the kind of money they got, well, man, they should be very successful, right? Because you're buying, that's what it is. You're buying talent. Yeah. We had Coach Covington came on last week, and what did he say? When he's out recruiting, he lays it out on the line. If you're only here for just the bag, as y'all put it, well, then I'm not going to waste my time. I get it. But the question was, do you, with all the resources, I get it. If you have it, then you're saying, then we will want to be better than SWAC good if we have all the resources. So, but the question is, Coach Pettaway, if you were coaching now at Alabama A&M, you get all the resources, you want the presidents and everybody on board, that's another question. That's another whole set of worms. But wouldn't you want to beat everybody? I mean, besides the company. That's all I'm saying. Now, if that's the case, then I get it. You got to have the resources. You got to have the NIL money. You got to do all the resources to have it. That's all I was saying.
But at the end of the day, you got the resources. Yes. And we're in a time right now where it is a battle for resources. You have one basketball program in this league that's got a $500,000 or $600,000 NIL. One player in particular is getting 85, and that's on the low end. Can we compete with that? I'm saying within the conference. I'm just saying within the conference.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Because what you're saying is, with that kind of money, it should be championships left and right. But
it better be, Carlos.
And I say not so fast, because you still have to be able to develop talent.
But one team just did win the regular season that had a pretty big NIL. They didn't win the tournament. They just won the regular season last year. Now
why did they win a tournament?
Well, that's my point.
I mean, they won the regular season then, right? Based on that.
When I'm saying you talk about championship, or we talking about championships. So if you have a $600,000 NIL for basketball and you won the SWAC regular season and didn't win the tournament, you're upset about it. You did hang a banner in the Wood Gym, and I know for Reggie Theus that wasn't enough considering the amount of talent that they had and what they were paying. But in terms of other schools trying to come up with that and trying to match or trying to come close to, can other schools do that? We see in football, Tremaine Jackson just got an infusion of NIL dollars. Is that gonna translate into him winning his second straight division and SWAC championship? We'll see. But
based on what you're saying,
nothing's guaranteed. All I'm saying is you do everything you can to make it as best as you can for your coach and for your program. There are no guarantees. There are no guarantees in this whole thing. You got $30 million college basketball rosters, and those teams didn't win the national championship. So there are no guarantees, but all you can do is put your best feet forward, not just your best foot. That's one. Your feet means two. You got to put your best feet forward in order to put your team in position. There are no guarantees in any of this, but if you've done everything that you could possibly do from a financial resource facility standpoint, then you can evaluate and judge the rest of it. And patience, Will talked about patience. We saw 3 coaches in football get fired after 2 years.
Ain't no patience no more.
You're correct. There is no more patience.
Especially if you're spending all that kind of money.
Correct. So I think we're just in this time. I mean, Marshall Faulk, people are excited about Marshall Faulk. We'll see what happens. But, if after a couple of years, if things go sideways, are they ready to move on from that? I don't think so in this case. I think Marshall will get 3 years. And just my opinion from the outside looking in, Carlos.
Charles, you went from the possibility of 3 years. The man hadn't coached one game. Hadn't coached one game.
I said the same thing about Dooley. I said the same thing about Graves. I thought
right.
That was going to be the case.
I get it.
Yeah.
You love Southern University, and that's the first example you always get.
There's some precedence there.
But what about Alcoa? What about Grambling?
Well, there are schools in this conference that, and I've talked with coaches that are at these schools that have told me, we are not in the business of firing coaches. We're going to let the contract play out all the way, and we'll evaluate it at the end. So they don't renew the contract. We saw that with
Which is how it should be. Theoretically, which is how it should be.
Yeah, Bud McDowell's contract played. They just didn't renew it. They brought in Tremaine Jackson.
Unless you do something
egregious,
out of the way, something wacky.
Yeah.
I believe that every coach should be able to fulfill that initial contract, and then evaluations are made, and then we look to make a decision from there.
Yeah.
But nobody will say that they didn't get an opportunity to get it done. If I step out there and hire you, okay, and give you a 3-year deal, okay, I got to eat them 3, whether or not you get it done or not. I got to eat them 3, and then hope and pray that I do a better job. After that, hope and pray I get an opportunity to make the next hire.
Okay, so now, Wheeler, you're gonna hire me, but you're only gonna give me 3 years. That's not even recruiting class.
If we have decided on a 3-year contract,
we ain't gonna decide on no 3-year contract.
You're gonna walk away, huh, Coach Fedaway?
No,
3 years now is more the norm.
But 3 in the option then. 3 in the option.
By year 3, Coach Petaway, I know whether or not you're gonna be able to get it done for me.
Right. Let me that now. But that's why it's got to be at least 3 in the option, Carlos, because you got to get a recruiting class now. By their junior year, you're supposed to be able to see progress.
Right. Let me go in the chat room. Rashard White say, even with the best resources, you still have to develop and coach them up. Right. I thought that was my point, man. I didn't do a good job of that. Ask the Cowboys and the Yankees. All the money in the world and best players and not winning championship. All that does is get more pressure already in a high octane pressure sports athletic arena. Now, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, we're doing good based on the reports, right? Financially. And it's not, you can't really compare the Power Fives. That just total. But the initial question was, and I get it, Dr. Cavill said you can't separate the two. But our mindset has to be matched with resources. I get it. I would love to see us, and just say dream, but put the work in to make that dream come to reality. That in baseball, eventually you get, with time and with patience, a two-bid league. FCS, people that come, well, let me finish before you shake your head.
Oh, well, no, I'm just,
yeah. FCS, you can play them in the regular season for those, we talked about that. A lot of people said our goal, meaning the SWAC, is Celebration Bowl at the top, SWAC championship, and then the regular season. But those who want to go, as Coach TC tell us, I kind of thought about it. How would we do, basically, in the FCS playoffs? But you can play them in the regular season. I guess because I'm a competitive person, maybe I'm wrong. No, but I'd love to see them on the regular season, and you constantly win. I know back in the day, Northwestern State came, or when Southern went there, man, you talking about want to go in there and whip them. Yeah, and we did, because they thought we inferior, better conference. Coach Pettaway, if you're playing, let's see, Sanford, I think you're gonna try to whip their behinds.
Yes.
So I get it. You got to have the resources and stuff, but I guess I'm just dreaming.
I keep saying this, at the end of the day, when them guys get in that room and they talk about the different teams and all that sort of thing, and talk about the scheduling and all that sort of thing, at the end of the day, if you're playing California Bible or Baptist or whomever, that sort of thing, then you are not going to get the kind of respect, that the third place team coming out of the CAA or the fourth place team coming out of the CAA is going to get. It's just not going to happen. But if you're playing those guys, on a regular basis, that sort of thing, and they know who you are, and you have developed a reputation of playing tough and playing gritty and all that sort of thing, because they know firsthand, they've tasted firsthand what you bring to the table. You got a much more better opportunity or better chance of getting in that door. Outside of that, you forget about it. It ain't gonna happen.
And I have to admit this: when I first met him at last year in Birmingham, SWAC Football Media Day, Coach Jackson. But they backed it up. Now they're getting a big NIL amount. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it would have happened if they wouldn't have gotten that. Look at that schedule. Look at the schedule they playing. Yeah. He's not running. No. And it's going to be tough.
No. But I think Prairie View has the flexibility and their location, and there are enough schools within that region to be able to play the type of schedule that they can play. And it works out for them. I think we talked about it last week. For us, you got plenty of schools around Mississippi and within the region, Southeast Louisiana. We didn't talk about Sanford. We used to play Sanford in football. But those schools going to want a home and home. And so when you're talking about bringing in money, a guarantee type thing, that's just not going to happen playing those schools. Now, we were fortunate to get, North Alabama, but they're opening up a brand new stadium. And so that's the reason why I think we got that. If it wasn't for that.
But then, Charles, we should give them a home and home. Why can't we give them a home and home?
I don't have a problem with a home and home.
Because
I really don't.
Because a home and home, and this is the attitude of fans in general, not just us, when it comes to playing outside of the SWAC, playing home games outside of HBCU, unfortunately, our fans don't show. I mean, it's just, we talk about being SWAC good. We open up with Miles. We just announced this last week. I guarantee you there's going to be a good crowd there. But if North Alabama came to Alcorn, I'm sure folks from North Alabama will show, but I don't know if our folks, I have faith in our fans. They love coming to Spinks, the tailgate and all that, but just the attitude about the game itself. You know, we talk about it on this show. When Southern plays LSU, when we play out of conference, we get a little conversation about it. But when Southern plays Alcorn, we can talk the whole show about that game because people are interested in it. Social media will tell you whether or not fans are interested in that particular contest. So when you're talking about playing home and home, your guarantee is you filling your stadium. That's your guarantee. Now, you can go 2 for 1. You can go 3 for 1. I talked to ID about that the other day. He ain't heard of a 3 for 1 deal. And them 2 for 1s, they're probably not out there anymore either. But if you want to generate revenue, you want to guarantee, you got to go to their place twice, or you got to go to them straight up like we're doing with North Alabama.
See, that's
you
all.
Are what you emphasize.
That's all.
You are what you emphasize. You know, and our ADs and our administrators got to get out there and put those goals forward, you know, to our alums, to our fan base, that sort of thing. You might not necessarily get the buy-in that you're looking for, but they got to know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. We're just not doing this just for the sake of doing it. You know, we got goals in mind, you know, places we want to be, people we want to be, that sort of thing. And all this is a part of that. And we need you guys' effort and help in order to make this happen.
I'm going to be brutally honest. Here I go, Coach Pettaway. I'm going to go back. And it was a while ago, but I really believe if you're beating these outside FCS conference members, they're going to come. Here's the story again. And I know maybe fans are different, but I think from a competitive standpoint, Southern beat Northwestern State. Coming into that series, if you ask everybody who's going to be favorite, Northwestern State, right? Southern won the first 4 games. Didn't matter if Northwestern brought people in. They were so proud that stadium, Coach Pettaway, was packed. And I really believe if you're beating those teams, I understand you saying they don't have an interest of playing those teams, but I just think when you win it, Coach Pettaway, and you're beating them, you'll pack your own stadium. You don't have to go 1 for 3, a home and home. I don't care if they don't bring it. Not one fan, not one from the other team. My fans are being there, and if you're winning, you know, Southern and Jackson, Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
Again, thanks for letting me get in there for that long crowd outside. Those doggone gates.
Packed house.
I got a shot in the back, Coach Pettaway. It took me 2 weeks to recover. Standing in line, I could have got a press pass, but I said I'm going to be an average fan. Great atmosphere. You can't replace that. But, man, I saw Northwestern State fan. A lady came up to me and said, oh, my God, how many RVs are there? But you'll see it in Jackson. You'll see it at FAMU. I went to Huntsville a long time ago. Great crowd.
Yep.
But
well, Carlos, I will say that this.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to say this. Yes, I understand. That was 20 years ago. I know things have changed. I understand there's a business part. I understand you can't separate the two. You got to have resources. I just asked, and I'm going to ask them ADs when they come on, and they're going to probably tell me the same thing. We need the resources. We need the alumni to help us. We need the sports business. That's all true. But I want to see if they're going to say, yeah, we're going to feel good if we can beat, like in basketball, Southern women playing. They won 2 years in a row. And who was the last team they just beat this year? Do you remember, Coach Pettaway?
Who Southern's women?
Mm-hmm. Sanford.
Yes.
I like that. That's a good win.
Yeah.
That's a good win. Go ahead, Charles.
But I mean, in football, I mean, as a person, and I know Dr. Cavill said it was 20 years. I went to 2 playoff games in my first 4 years at Alcorn. Steve McNair was the highlight. Youngstown State in Northeast Louisiana, now ULM.
I remember.
I'm almost willing to bet that if you call some of these FCS ADs, Western Illinois, Kennesaw State, Southeast Louisiana, and you ask them about playing Alcorn, oh, they would love to play Alcorn. Southern and Southeastern, they would love to bring Southern to Strawberry Stadium or bring us to Strawberry Stadium. But then when it comes to, and our fans just have to show up at home. And unfortunately, I hate to say it because it pains me, but it's true. And this is throughout the league, we just don't show. Is SWAC good enough? You mentioned Southern and Jackson in football, packed house either way, at the Vet or at Mumford. But if it goes the other way, unless Jackson plays a Tennessee State at home, that'll draw a great crowd. But when it comes to FCS, even the FCS playoffs, FAMU was just in the playoffs a few years ago. They played Southeastern. You saw what happened there. We ain't talked about that game yet. We did, but barely. So it's one of those things, man. Just all we can do is educate and inform. But if people aren't interested, they just aren't interested. And if you want to separate them from their dollar and have them come to these games, it's our job to educate and inform and say, hey, let's do this throughout the schedule regardless. But it's just not the case. And until we can have this continued conversation, I think it's going to continue to be this way because coaches, again, are not going to be hired at these schools or stick around if they keep losing to Prairie View or Southern or Grambling or Alcorn. They're just not. Fans want to see SWAC championships. SWAC. That's what they want to see. If not, they're going to call the president. They're going to call Wheeler, the AD, and say, you got to do something. And then that's a whole nother conversation. It's uncomfortable for Wheeler. It's uncomfortable for the board. It's uncomfortable for the president. But that's where I haven't heard one word about non-conference losses. We go 1-13 in non-conference in basketball.
Oh, you hear it from me. You hear it from me. Doggone it. No. And if that's what most people settle for, good. That's for them.
Yeah.
That's for them, Coach Pettaway.
Yeah.
But again, well, we win the conference. That's a given. But what incentive do I have? If I'm just so low, it don't matter. You can go 0-13 because you had to bring 1 million, 1.5 million to the schedule. That absolutely sucks, in my opinion.
It does.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
It does.
I saw Texas A&M come in there, packed house, Coach Pettaway.
Yeah.
And they gave them a raw spanking.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm just so proud. But again, so be it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So now
I think our ADs are adjusting accordingly, though. I think our ADs are adjusting accordingly. I mean, if we packed it out if we pack our conference basketball games, and we had this conversation before.
They're not even at home most of the time.
Well,
that schedule you showed me, they're not at home. So when do I get to see Alcorn?
What I'm saying is that if we did better attendance wise, and attendance has been good. Don't get me wrong, it's been good. But if it's taken up another notch to where not just the rivalry games in basketball, but just any SWAC basketball game, if you get a really good crowd throughout, I think the numbers will show that maybe you don't have to play all these guarantee games. But I just don't see that happening. And that's why for some of our schools, $1 million, 750, 500. I mean, if you're required to bring in 500,000, that's fine. You're probably gonna be playing 8 or 9 mid-tier games. You'll get a chance to get some home games, but the budget is the budget, guys. And until we pack our football stadium, which is a part of the overall budget, until we pack our basketball arenas, which is a part of the overall budget, until we can do something with softball and baseball and charging, we talked about that. That's part of the overall budget. The juggling will continue. Juggling a bowling ball and a tennis ball and a golf ball is hard to do.
Guess what? Outside our conference, Coach Pettaway, turn your mic on. Outside that, how many of those programs are making money even on the big level?
Zero.
None.
Right.
None.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot when it comes to that. That means the reports out there. the people are not really making a lot of money on that kind of stuff.
Some of the big athletic programs not
right,
making it
right.
on the big level.
Cutting sports too. Arkansas just cut their men's and women's tennis program. But I also think that, in my opinion, I think we know turning a profit in athletics is difficult. But instead of losing $5, if this fiscal year you only lose $2, you still lost, but you didn't lose quite as much.
And that's the key for us,
right,
on our level,
right?
Okay, is to get as close to zero as we can,
right,
in terms of the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can get a few dollars over at some point in time, God bless you. You know, but we know that you know, we're not gonna make money. Okay, we're hoping to make people feel good. And that's what this is all about at the end of the day. All our sports, Carlos, guys, are feel-good sports. People feel good when we win. They don't feel good when we lose.
Right.
People have a tendency to dig a little deeper in their pocket when we win. Okay, they hide the money when we lose. You know, so it's all about feeling good or feeling bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the expenses are what the expenses are. They're gonna be there.
And it's gonna get worse. Will, it's gonna get worse because look at fuel prices.
Mm-hmm.
You just had Spirit Airlines go out of business or close to it.
No, they
airfares are about to go up.
And guys don't understand it. Even if you got your own buses, even if you have your own buses, you still paying for them.
Yeah.
Well,
you paying physical plant.
We don't want to get
in order to make the trips. Somebody getting paid.
We don't want to get too much into that because the guy with the orange hair is a knucklehead. Okay, I mean, let's not go there. We know expenses, the fuel and at the pump, right? By the way, gas up now. Top your tank off because it could change on a dime.
$4.
And you know,
just saw it. $4 a gallon right down the street from where I'm sitting.
I'm $4.30. $4.30.
Wow.
Well, I work 1 minute from my house, and if it comes to it, I can walk. If it gets that bad,
yeah.
But politics. Oh my God. Yeah. And so that's why it would be now, even if the prices come down, which I think it'll be a while, you still can schedule from a geographical point closer. There are teams, if you want to play in basketball, out of conference that are close by. Huntsville, right there, you got somebody.
Yeah.
You'll have a good crowd at that one, right?
Right.
For basketball.
Well, yeah, it's a little different here. We're close to Sanford, hour and a half away. Florence, North Alabama, hour away. Jacksonville State, who's moved up another level, they're about an hour and 10 minutes away. But Carlos, over the years for us now, and I know Wheeler said, and Charles said the same thing, that your home crowd should be the ones you expect at your stadium. But when we travel, we fill up their stadiums. But when we play them at our home, they don't travel.
Nothing you can do about that.
So you're not getting anything from them. You're expecting the rest of our people to come in and compensate for what they don't bring. And that's not that in most cases that doesn't happen.
Well, we'll tell your fans don't travel to those places if you're gonna play. But again, I saw it at home, albeit 20, 25, 30 years ago. And I do believe if you look at the FCS football, home attendance, Jackson's always near the top. Every other year with a little help from Southern, just a little. Southern went 2-10, still was in the top 5.
Right,
in attendance. Basketball, and with football, you could do better. I think if you come out, let's say for instance, he comes out besides the Houston game, which is going to be tough, and you go 5-1. I bet you that crowd's gonna be increased. Now, how much? I don't know. Basketball, women and men's have led in attendance, and Alabama and them right behind, but it could be better. 5,000 what capacity in Huntsville?
Six.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably what 70, 75, 80% occupancy of that
Yeah.
arena. Southern 7,500, and I guess they average, what was it? I can't remember, 3,000, but they can do better. But I just said if you're winning and you win some of those games, you're winning in conference, your crowd's going to increase. I get it. The economy also is going to affect people. Some people, how they can do. But we need to bring all of the factors that we can into this and make it the best product that we can. And I still just say, and I apologize for kind of losing my temper, but if my team is Southern University and they're 1-12, only the diehards gonna come out.
Yeah.
Yep.
That I mean, and I don't think it has to be there. What's the word again? Balance. But I just thought it was a good topic to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
The other thing, I mean, you talk about our fans showing not, they go to Sanford, but then they don't come to Huntsville. This show and this conversation got me to change my mind on that theory. And I think Wheeler brought it up at first. I think we all could agree. Your fans have to show. You can't sit here and expect the visiting folks to show up.
No.
If they do, great. If they don't, they don't. Our fans have to be the one to fill this. If they fill up the visitor side, that's fine. But if they don't show, then that's a whole nother conversation that we need to have. And they're going to show when it comes to homecoming. They're going to show when it comes to these rivalry games. But when it comes to these other conference games that are not rivals, that's another conversation. If we're SWAC, then it doesn't matter what SWAC opponent. If it's not homecoming, it's going to be full. If it's not rivalry, it's going to be full. If it's rivalry, it's going to be full. But what about the other games that aren't rivals? They're still SWAC games, but we don't fill it up like we probably should. And that's another conversation we need to have.
And you know what? We got to become more attractive to people who don't have any ties to our school.
Oh, they ain't gonna want that, according to
Well,
Charles.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I don't know the formula. I don't have an answer for it or anything like that. But a lot of these other schools, a lot of these majority schools, okay, they are drawing people who have no ties to the institution. They didn't graduate from those schools or none of that, but they wearing the T-shirts, they wearing the Alabama sweatshirt and all this sort of thing. You would know them from somebody that graduated from the school, because they in there yelling and screaming just as hard, just as hardy as if they went to the school. And when we start drawing those kinds of folk also, then we'll see our lot start to change.
So in other words,
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
I understand. So in other words, if you can start attracting people who don't have no ties, but you're winning, throw it out to the fans. If you're okay, we talk about balance, and we're going back to the out of conference schedule, right, Coach Pettaway?
Yes.
I'm just gonna ask the question: do you think more fans will come if you're, say, 5-7, and you had a tough non-conference schedule? You had to bring in all that money to Wheeler, right? I'm picking at you, Wheeler, bringing all the money to you. Or if your team is going and not picking on Alcorn, because there's others like that. I saw that conference, that non-conference schedule, and they'll probably sprinkle in a little couple 2 home games. And let's say they 2-10. You think more fans gonna come out 5-7? I'm not even saying a winning record. Then 2-10, Coach Pettaway?
Yeah, they'll come out at 5-7 because they see hope. They see hope. But if you come out there 2-10, they don't see hope.
So what it's saying, if I'm a diehard, I'm gonna come. But if I'm trying to attract
Others.
Mm-hmm.
What incentive is it to come? And then, two guys sitting on the bus, I'm bragging about, man, you saw Southern women, they beat Cal, Barbara, they beat Houston, won the game from start to finish. Then they beat Arizona. I'm proud. It might make me want to spend a little bit more. It gets a little bit more money. But,
I think when it comes to basketball, I think it's a wash. I think it gets some attention on this show in November and December. But if you got a team that went 10-0 in conference like Bethune-Cookman did, and when we handed them their first loss, that people were talking about that, we were talking more about that than we were about the non-conference, what we didn't do. So, yeah, fans get agitated. To me, this is just my opinion. I think fans get more agitated when you lose by 60 in basketball. In football, fans get agitated when you lose 70-0 to Ohio State. You got the $1 million check, but you lost 70-0. We play Mississippi State. We know what happened in that game. We got the check, but and some of our fans say, I hope we never play another FBS school. I don't care how low it is on the total poll. So
they would really be mad. They would really be mad.
Yeah. I mean, this is just the comments. This is what I've been told, and even on social media, people bring that up. But when it comes to the SWAC, I think people get over it a little bit quicker if you start 5-0 in conference. We're talking about basketball. In football, if you go 3-0 in conference and get off to a good start, you sprinkle in a loss, of course, in non-conference. But when you start out strong in football, in conference, people tend to move on quicker from the non-conference because they understand. And I think most of our fans are educated enough to know the reason why we're playing these games. We're playing it for the paycheck. We understand that if we don't get embarrassed 80-0 in football, if we lose 48-28, it'll be a little wry applause because it was a moral victory. But, people still don't want to play those schools because we get broke up, get beat up. They don't like that, and they don't like the embarrassment that comes with that. So when you move past non-conference, and we do in football, and we're into the SWAC games, that's what people talk about. And so I just think people don't want to be embarrassed because they don't want to see their school embarrassed, which is fine.
If they get mad, help us do better. Okay, get mad, and help us do better. Don't get mad and then lock your wallet in a safe, and decide not to contribute, that sort of thing. If you want us to do better, you want us to get better, you don't want to see 70-0 or 110-80 or what have you, then do the things necessary to help us take that next step. Don't hide and talk trash about us.
Yep.
Help us get better. Dig a little deeper. Get your friends to dig a little deeper. Get us out there.
We're going to have to move on, but Carlos, listen very closely. We are not sports fans. We are events plan. Please understand that about our audience. Boy, we painting a broad brush, ain't that right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
I give in. I give in. No, I'm not. I can only speak for myself. Again, I'm more excited. I'm more excited when Bethune-Cookman defeats LSU and Florida in baseball.
Absolutely.
It could be done. Dream. Put the resources together.
Yeah. Right.
You can't separate the two. It's a business, sports administration. We all got to be on the same board. I just thought maybe our panel and our audience, the question, would you want to be SWAC good? More than SWAC good. And I assume that they would be. Now, can we move on from that? But look, because we got a guest coming up, and we got NBA playoffs, Southern baseball. Look, I sit on here and I have to eat crow. Southern baseball, didn't I? I didn't believe. I still pull for them. Right, Coach Petaway?
Yes.
Will and Sean, I didn't think they were going to be where they're at now.
Do you believe? Do you believe now?
Big C.
Do you believe? Like Dion said, do you believe now?
Oh, they're saying yes, Carlos. Yes. We want to be more than SWAC. We want to be better than SWAC. Some people are saying no wrong or right answer. It's opinion.
All I'll say is that there's not been a coach in this league that has gotten fired because he went 1-12 in non-conference basketball every year. He was 4-50 in 4 years in non-conference. He never was fired. But
he shouldn't, Charles. You know why? Because he's helping the program.
That's true.
He's bringing in money. That's what he's bringing in. So put an asterisk, put an exclamation point, put a damn cookie on it. He shouldn't be fired for that. I'm agreeing with that.
Right.
All I'm saying is this. Can we have balance? We've talked about it. Can we have balance? Yeah. Can we come to a day where that's not the norm? Where you got to schedule all those games? Charles, it seems like and let's go ahead and put it out there. Dr. Cable has agreed to come on and talk about these things. And guess what? If I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. Because they are the experts on that. Right. That's their craft. That's what they're doing. Dr. Scott jumped on it. He was ready to come on today. Today. I put out to Coach Banks. It looks like that's going to be that's going to be a good one. Yeah. Now, if anybody else, you can help me out. Yeah, AD Golf. Boy, names escapes me. And shame on me. Mr.
AD Bryant. I'm gonna try AD Bryant and see if he's available for the night.
And Alcorn AD may be a possibility.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the text. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Do this. May 9th is next Saturday. We'll open it up to the 9th and the 16th to give them opportunity. And we just simply going to ask them, how do you
navigate?
Good word. Navigate through NIL, cost of attendance, some of the things we're talking about, debating and getting hot about. That's me, yours truly. Conference schedule, why you have to do it. We kind of know why. Yeah. But would there be a point in time where we can get away from that? You know, now you talk about college athletics and it's navigating and it's like a tsunami, it's ever changing. Then our ADs and everything we got to navigate too. We got to change.
My final point on it is maybe with the schools that don't have all those guaranteed games, maybe the university is supplementing athletics and the basketball programs to a point where they don't have to necessarily bring in $1 million in guarantees.
We can ask them. We can ask them.
I don't think that's the case. And I'm just throwing it out there. I don't believe that to be the case. Yeah, I mean the student fees are the student fees. You know, at the end of the day, the department is still running red. All of the departments are running red. You know, so maybe I can tolerate a little more red than you can, Charles. You know, that sort of thing. But we still red. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So, I don't think it's a thing of them supporting one or the other anymore or less than normal. It's just a matter of how much debt can we take moving forward to where nobody's yelling and screaming, that sort of thing. How much can we hide, in other words? How much of that red ink can we hide?
And guess what? Wait a minute. Carlos, you need to ask your pet peeve. Can they schedule more winnable basketball games that still allow them to generate the needed funds to operate? Good question. And look, we're not going to attack them.
Yeah.
We just want to get their say on it. I understand Coach Pettaway's perspective, AD Willer's perspective. I understand Charles' perspective. Now, if me and Charles are, let's say, talking about scheduling in non-conference, you could tell Charles he doesn't have a problem with the non-conference schedule being that way. You could tell I do. That's just my philosophy. I don't care for it. And hopefully it'll get better and hopefully it'll change. We also talked about Southern baseball, and you remember you asked me about the contract. What was my thing? It had to be in the top 4. You're in the top 4 right now, right? Now, the only thing is, I said the other part was that to make a deep run in the tournament. I didn't say you have to win it, but a deep run. But everything seems to play. Willa, why you laughing? Everything seems to be in place that those goals are attainable.
What is defined as a deep run? The bracket final, getting to the finals.
I knew you was going to ask that question.
Semis.
Yeah, I would say semis. You can't lose in the first round. You don't want to be like Bethune-Cookman in basketball, losing the first. Southern did it after winning the regular season. So that would be a deep, and then a new contract possibly could be put on the table. Now, wait a minute. You say a possible contract put on the table. Coach Federway, he gets those things done. But now, and then we got to get to our guests. But you can't do a 1-year thing.
No,
you can't do a one.
No.
You're stuck. Either you're gonna go multiple years, because if 1 year is nothing, then the next year you're back at the same problem. You either say thanks, even though you have finished in the top 4, even though you made a strong run, I've got to either commit to 2 or more, or at least 2, or none at all.
Well, what's going to be interesting at Prairie View? I mean, we haven't heard anything about that. You know, Coach Smith got that extension based on the language in his contract, winning 17 games. So he just got the 1 year. Have we heard of anything in addition to that? Just like what we've been talking about. Does he have another year that the university will give him, or another 2? A coach told me that Byron Smith should get a 3-year deal, meaning he's already got 1. Give 2 more years on top of that. That's what a coach told me that recently. I don't know.
I mean, what is his relationship with the AD, Charles? Because all that's got to come into play too. You know, if my relationship with you is not as strong, you know, I ain't gonna say you ain't my guy or what have you, nothing like that. But you know,
someone cut off your point.
You lost it, Wheeler.
It wasn't Brian Fulford, I know.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. As of right now, I mean, nothing else is being reported other than that one, you know, the 1-year extension that was in his contract. So we'll see. I mean, it's probably early in the process. You know, we'll see. But I think that's an interesting, you know, conversation. A 1-year contract, and Coach Pettaway, you can talk about this as a coach. Do you feel comfortable with just that 1-year extension?
No, they'll kill you in recruiting, man. They use that against you. That's a kiss of death for 1 year. You announce 1 year, that's a kiss of death, man. Them kids, you're not gonna recruit like that. Because if a kid wants to come and play for you and you only got 1 year left, that kid's not coming.
He ain't coming. 9 times out of 10, he ain't coming.
It's brutal. We talk about college athletics, ever changing, but it's also still got that brutal, nasty streak in there.
Yep.
And that's what it can do. Coach Petty, aren't you glad you coached during your time? It was the purest, maybe old-fashioned, but still the purest of times. Now,
yeah, it was better. It was better back then as a coach, because you'd have to deal with all this stuff going on now, the NIL, the portal, all that was not a part of it. You didn't see kids jumping ship back in the day like they do now.
Yeah, but
the portal came before NIL now, so it's the portal that created this. Yeah, NIL is what's going to keep The NIL is what's going to keep you from having parity.
Well, you know, when you had to sit out years, when you had to sit out a year,
right,
or 2 years if you transferred in the conference, you know, all that put a damper on anybody's movement, you know, because you didn't want to give up that year unnecessarily.
Right.
Yeah, but now, you know, you're free to come and go as you please. I mean, the kids are trying to take advantage of it, I suppose.
You let that old genie out the bottle.
Yeah.
You know, and some were saying, well, you know, the coaches, they can come and go and leave, and so why not the students? So now you try that. Now, this 5 for 5, we hadn't really talked a lot about that, Coach Pettaway. Maybe we'll bring it up next. It's no exceptions. Well, there's 2 exceptions basically.
Yeah,
and
military.
So, yeah. Well, speaking of giving, and it was mentioned about giving. How do alums give back? We've heard that, as EA said, our fans are basically for events, nothing else. We've had that comment. We do know that college athletics has changed. The business part, you can't operate it like it's in the 1990s or even the early 2000s. Our first guest coming up, our special guest, Jaguar Athletic Group. They're trying to raise and help. You know, you guys talking about alums giving, and how can they do it? Well, we're going to talk with Jaguar Athletic Group to see what their projects are, what they need help on, and I'm going to join. And I know they've got different situations that you can give. I'm going to give the one for the 1880 for a year, and I'm going to do that. That's my way of giving back as well. And then, of course, NBA playoffs. Coach Pettaway, we said we'll sneak that in. So let me get this time out. Let me stop talking so much. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Up next, members of the Jaguar Athletic Group. We'll see you right back here after the timeout.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisine.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking.
There we go. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Janina Morris of the Jaguar Athletic Group and Daniel Morris. Welcome back, and this is a time to talk about what's going on with Jaguar Athletic Group, different projects you got going on, and how the Jaguar Nation can help. Or say, Daniel, can you hear me? Let's see. We'll give him a minute to see if he can. Where he's standing at that's a familiar place there, Charles. Right outside of the athletic field house.
Oh, okay. I saw the Columbia blue in the background.
A beautiful color. A beautiful color. And guess what, Coach Pettaway? Y'all school color is my second favorite color.
I love
that maroon. Yeah, that maroon. Yeah, maroon's nice color. Looks good on me with my gray there. It's coming in fast, Coach Pettaway.
Yeah. But see, I think you need more groups like this Southern this athletic group. This is what it's going to come to, man. This is how we're going to survive. This is how the HBCUs have to survive right now.
Right. Let's see if we can.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Miss Morris, can you hear me?
Hello.
Now I think you can hear Daniel. Daniel, you there?
But I don't think he can hear us.
Okay.
Let's see.
Can Janara hear us?
Hello, how are we doing today?
All right.
Fine,
can
I
you hear
can
us?
only hear Mr. Brown.
Okay, you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Hello, yeah, I can only hear Mr. Brown right now.
He said you can only hear Mr. Brown.
Okay, well.
He can only hear Wheeler. Okay.
Daniel, talk about some of the projects that you have going with the Jaguar Athletic Group. I think he's having a hard time hearing. Okay. Well, we'll see if we can log back in.
Right. And see, Carlos, like I'm serious, and the athletic directors and the presidents, I think they have to be more transparent about our situation with our fans in order to get the support. See, that's just like I shared with you guys earlier in the week. Like one of the things that Alabama A&M is doing, not only for the tailgate people, season ticket holders, they're adding a piece to that to help with athletics. And I think that's what all of our schools have to look at. Now, I'm not talking about, they're not doing it like on the P4 level. P4, like at Alabama, if you're not contributing $25,000 to the school per year, you're not even in line for tickets. That kind of stuff. So see that's how they make their money, man. And
$25,000 to start. That's the floor.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's a funny thing you talk about that. Charles Edmonds' good friend, Tony Clayton, basically told me one time to be on Southern Board, it should be a certain amount required.
Right, to be on the board. I agree.
It's on the board. Yeah.
Right. Because you have to have
It's the same thing they do for the institution. those
Right.
board members have to commit to a certain amount, I'm sure.
Right. Go ahead, Carlos. I think we may have them now.
Let's see. Let's try it again. Danny, can you hear me?
What about Miss Morris?
Maybe
Jesus, why?
Daniel, maybe try going inside the building. Janera, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little low, but I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Is that
yes,
better? Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes, ma'am. Well, sometimes
Y'all
it's just
always
like
stuck with me, huh?
no, that's all right. It's like in a sporting event. Sometimes you have to make adjustments
Yeah,
before halftime. So
yeah.
the Jaguar Athletic Group talk about some of the who you are again for those who are just tuning in for the first time of seeing you, and then you could talk about the different projects and of course what's going on with the Jaguar Athletic Group.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all. First of all, thank y'all for having me on.
Okay, well now we got you, Daniel.
All right, had to relog on. Thank you for having us. We definitely appreciate it. I just happened to be out here at the Southern University Foundation Crawfish Bowl, so I just came over here.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason why I'm outside and may have had some difficulty. But we started off, of course, getting everything done for our athletes. The most recent campaign has been our Nourish campaign. That's where we make sure protein for all of our athletes is very important, especially in the spring. In the spring, being coach, that's just pack on as much weight as we can, get guys as strong as we can, as full as we can, and then we take that into the summer. So we were able to. We had a great response. In a week we had $1,800 or $1,700 was the first, but when we went back to total, we're up to I think close to $2,800 now. For folks just seeing after we posted showing where we gave everything to the coaches, folks seeing where their money goes and having that full transparency has really helped us as far as our donation, as far as making sure that our athletes have the protein they need to make sure they replace and they build all the muscle and everything that they're going to need moving forward.
Well, that's very good. A good response. Any other projects that you guys are trying to implement and need help on?
Y'all still there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What we'll do, Daniel, because I think yours is a little more spotty. We'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's just
You watching?
I think it's just the Wi-Fi where he's at the spot.
Yeah, but at one time Gina was up, but then hers went out too.
Yeah,
Miss Morris. Yeah,
I think Janeer's probably going to be the one we can hear the best because of her location. It's a different location. I think Daniel's logged back in.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine, Theo. He's the equipment manager. Told me to log back in. All got logged back in. We got folks on campus watching right now.
Well, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. My last question before you had to log out and log back in was any upcoming projects that the organization is looking to implement and need help on.
Yes, we're doing the. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right now we're doing the Nourish program. That's when. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you got me going inside the building. So what we're doing right now, we're doing a nourishment program.
Mm-hmm.
And that nourish program is providing protein for our athletes. So not only are we providing protein shakes, we're providing protein bars.
And that's for all student athletes, correct?
Well, right now, the football team reached out to us, and we were able to supply for them. So what we'll have to do is, as the coaches be able to deal with that we want to make sure we get those football players out of the way, and then those sports that are going to be here coming up in the fall.
Okay. What any other projects as far as the Jaguar Athletic Group?
Yes. Next, we're going to do a project where we have to get some equipment for our conditioning coach, Barry. Once we get the full list, we'll be able to post some of that so folks can either donate to start another campaign for that. So you'll be able to either donate the equipment or we'll be able to go out and get it. What we found was when the coaches said that they needed protein because they were having issues making sure the guys were able to put on weight, we were able to just get that information, go out, purchase it, and then bring it back. We had to go through the red tape of requisition orders and all that kind of stuff. Anybody who's ever been in dealing with state requisitions, you know what kind of pain that is. So that's what we, Jaguar Athletic Group, was able to do as far as getting all the information.
All right, Janera. I hope I pronounced the name right.
It's Janara. That's okay.
Janara.
Yeah.
Janara. I apologize for that.
That's okay.
As far as people donating and the response, I kind of mentioned about I'm going to commit to the 1880 project and talk about that initially for its membership in the Jaguar Athletic Group.
Right. So we have 3 tiers. Our 1880 is our tier for individuals that say, "Hey, I just want to, I want to help and, make just a small donation for right now," because we have some people waiting to see if we're gonna even win, right? So they could make donations. But that 1880 is the lower level. We have a 188 level, and then we have our 1,888 level. We have quite a few donors in the 1,888 level. They break it up into payments per month.
Okay.
But most people just do the 1880. We have a group of individuals that every month is 1880, and at the end they'll have about $227 that they have donated, which is not a lot, right? We donate that to Amazon almost every month. We donate that to Hulu, Prime, all of those things, and it might be a little bit more for that. But that 1880 times the 100,000 alumni that we have equals $22 million, and that's our main campaign to make that $22 million in 1 year. And we know we can do it because we have that many donors, we have that many fans, we have that many alumni, even more than 100,000. So that's
we lost.
Yeah.
There you go. Look, I think I need to up my my 1880. Don't you think? At least
And that's a good plan. And Carlos, one of the things I think was happening to Daniel. Daniel was close to somebody else that's streaming, and that's why he was getting that feedback. Yep. So he had to separate himself. But that's a great program, and that's a start because you think about it now. If they can come up with 22 million, if the alumni would just if everybody would do their thing, that's $22 million. That puts you in rare cotton right there. If they can pull that off, I think that's great.
Rare cotton. That's what an expression.
Yeah.
I love and I think you said you can break up the 1,880 into,
monthly. We can do everything monthly. Right. So currently what I have a couple of them just because I can show people. I do $86 a month because $86 a month gives you 1,036 or something like that. That would be $1,000 a year. You don't even know that you gave. And then of course I also do a subscription of 80, which is show 7. But that, just having that coming out every month, like I said, $86, Prime, all these other folks, they are more expensive. Our TV subscriptions are more than. Think about you being able to give back $1,000 to your institution. You don't even feel it, that's an awesome thing to be able to do. And then have a platform that allows us for you to make the choice whether or not you want to pay the processing fees or not. Is Bloomerang, which is one all of the in a lot of NC2A institutions. We just made that investment to make sure that when folks donate, they're able to actually see where their donation is going. They're actually able to get tax records. So that's the reason why we make sure that everything that we've done is something that we can scale, make sure everyone's able to do what they want to do and see where they're at.
Yeah. Ms. Morris, transparency, some people bring that up, but you guys have stated the second time that everything is transparent and you can see where your money is going. Talk about that.
Well, okay, I'll continue. Well, for us, like I said, we just did a post, pull it up and show you, but it showed all the, I think, $1,055 that we spent on the protein for the last 3 weeks of the football program working out. And like I said, we still donating, so we have coach always said, hey, what do you need for the summer? People still have that money.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna but yeah, the transparency, as far as the transparency, I think Danny may have covered it, but he's breaking in and out. So I don't know if y'all can hear him that well. But the transparency as far as what we do is every time that we get a donation, we do a weekly accounting of what we've received and we put it out on social media. We tell them, hey, these are the people that donated, this is how much how much they donated. When we go and pick up that protein, we have a video out right now where Danny is actually putting the protein onto the little buggy and showing them how much protein we pick up. We take a picture with whoever we deliver the protein to. So that's our transparency, because we want people to know when you give $18.80, if you give $10, because some people give $10, if you gave $10, that money is going to these athletes. We just fed the athletes also. One of the coaches, he did a event for his for the O-line, and we were able to contribute to that. We don't want to be just feeding them now, but we want them to have good nutrition, and that's the purpose in it. So we have a lot of things in that we're planning right now. We have a lot of members that have joined. We have a meeting coming up, which will be on the 12th, next Tuesday. And so please join us so that you can find out more about Jaguar Athletic and get started. We need this because Falk is our chance. This is our chance to make it different. He brings a lot of notoriety, and that's a great thing. But we have to sustain this program if he stays. If he does not stay, we have to sustain this program. So that's our goal. That's our biggest goal.
You're looking at long term.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, short term is fine, long term, and every little bit helps. Some can give more, some can't give as much, but every contribution helps. It really does. Let me ask you this, and you mentioned about our time now with Coach Falk, notoriety. How has that made an increase of what you've seen as far as people contributing?
100%. 100%. Because they're curious. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen. What kind of coach is he going to be? And he could be whatever kind of coach he wants to be, but if he doesn't have the talent, and those children, I call them children because I'm 50, but if they're not nourished properly, and Danny could tell you this, if they're not getting the proper strength and conditioning, and we're seeing more injuries, right? Danny played in the 90s. Danny was like, we could run through buildings at that point. because they had, Coach Billy Long had them so strong. So if they're not getting those two things and proper facilities for them to actually enhance their bodies, then, he's losing already. It doesn't matter who he is and how motivational he is and what he could tell the kids. That does matter because you have to deal with their mental also. But the thing is, Coach Falk needs the help. He does. We've seen it happen this last year. Part of that was, it wasn't just, hey, we got a bad coaching staff. Some of it was, but we also had some bad facilities and we also didn't have what we needed. So we're trying to bring that to Southern University and support Coach Falk, because this is an opportunity for Southern. It's a big opportunity.
Let me do this. We'll reschedule you for next week, and maybe we can find a better spot that you can, because I want everybody to get what you're saying,
Yeah.
and get the whole crux of it. So if we can we do this? And I'm saying that too because we're going over a little bit, but it won't do you any justice if we rush you off. Chuck Hunt says, he says, tell my Monroe, Louisiana neighbor and elementary schoolmate, hello.
Hey,
Hello. And
hey,
Chuck.
Chuck. Hey, Chuck. Yeah,
Yes.
Chuck is my neighbor.
Yes, ma'am. So can we do that? Can we reschedule it for next week, and maybe we'll have a different aspect for us,
100%.
because I do want to get that out. And now I must say, boy, I think I have to do more. I have to do more. I was bragging on the $18.80 a month, but all bill helps. And I was going to pay it a year in advance. Maybe I need to do 2 years in advance. We'll see.
Hey, love it. Love it. We welcome it.
All going to the kids.
Yes, sir. So we'll get you back on. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
All right.
You. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All righty. Well, our producer says we can go to 110, maybe something like that. But not enough now or too much? You got to go, Coach Petaway?
Yeah. Grandkids' birthday party. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Do you want to do the NBA? You want to do the NBA though, right?
Yeah. And then we were going to be at the end of the show.
Okay. Well, we got some. We had some surprises right now. Detroit and Orlando. They got a big game coming up Sunday at 2:30. That series is tied 3-3. Detroit, the number 1 seed, is struggling against the number 8 seed. Charles, nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming.
Not even me. Not even Pat Riley saw that coming.
And then also in the East, Boston and Philadelphia, they're tied up. But they're gonna decide theirs today.
Shame on Boston, Coach Petaway. They live by the 3, die by the 3.
All right, and then of course, New York shocked the world by beating the brakes off the Atlanta Hawks to win that series 4-2. I don't think anybody saw that. We all knew New York had an opportunity to win it, but man, they just really destroyed them. They dismantled them.
Time to dismantle the Atlanta Hawks too. After that,
yep.
That was embarrassing. That was. I mean, it wasn't about New York as much as it was about what Atlanta did do. That ain't it.
Right. And then of course Cleveland and Toronto, they got to go to a game 7. The Raptors got lucky on the last second shot last night. They brought back memories of Kawhi Leonard shooting it on that same rim that they say, and it went down for them. So that game is tomorrow night. And then over in the West, Oklahoma City did Carlos what we thought they would do.
Yeah.
They brought out that broom and they struck Phoenix. They did what they were supposed to. And then, of course, San Antonio, the number 2 seed, they took care of Portland, and they have advanced. And here we go. Denver, another upset. Denver lost to the number 6 seed, Minnesota Timberwolves, who don't even have their starting backcourt. You know, they're 2 people down, and they still beat
it done.
Denver. Yep, they got the Nuggets. And then, of course, the Lakers and the old man Zion pulled one out of his hat, and the Lakers were able to beat Houston last night. So, but
I'm laughing at EA. He says the Lakers won't win a game in the next series.
yeah, that's probably true now because they got to go up against them young studs, man, and I think it's going to be ugly now. I think it's going to be ugly because during the regular season, I think they beat them by average of 29 points a game. So, yeah, I think it's going to be rough on LA going forward.
And LeBron has, look, Mother Nature and Father Time, they're undefeated. And you could tell he was wearing down, but he had a good closeout game. But I think it's just going to be tough. It was going to be tough even if Luka was there. What? Luka's hurt again? Oh, no, he's not. He's not hurt. He's not hurt. Denver, I don't know. They're at a crossroads.
Yep.
Do you break that team up or do you bring it back one more time and add a few pieces? Probably in Minnesota, backcourt is gone.
Yep.
But boy, that guy came up and played awesome. That's a good feel-good story for Minnesota. I'm going to be honest with you. But it looks like the West now. The Celtics, Coach Pettaway, I'm not sure. They look like gold one day and then the next day.
And that's because the three is dropping. When the three is dropping, they look like gold. All right. When that three is not going in, there's nothing they can do, man. They don't have an alternate plan.
Mm-hmm. Why they don't put Brown and Tatum in that doggone post?
Tatum
not in the scheme.
Tatum shouldn't be playing.
No, Tatum is all right to say he came back from a major surgery. Charles. He has been playing as well as he can play on that injury. Can't blame it on Tatum.
No, I'm just saying. I was hoping that Jason Tatum wouldn't come back till next year. But I get it. The competitive juices, I get it. And then for Denver, I think Denver's downfall started with firing Mike Malone. I think that was a mistake. And yes, Denver's gonna have to retool and retrench. But Mike Malone had that toughness, that edge. We'll see what he does in North Carolina. But I thought that's where the downfall started for Denver. And now they're gonna have to make some decisions to keep Joker. He says he wants to be a Nugget for life. They're gonna have to make some changes in order for him to keep that promise.
I think Aaron Gordon was a big missing piece.
Right.
I don't think you blow the team up. I think hopefully they stay healthy. He's back. And a lot of people had them making it to the Western Finals against OKC.
Yeah.
And see, Houston buying all that money, all that contract. What did it give you? Just like all that NIL money, you still have to coach and develop, even on a professional level.
You got to coach and develop, and you got to stay healthy now. You know, the situations we're talking about, these people were not healthy. You know, if Durant had, remained healthy, might have been a different series against the Lakers. And of course, the Timberwolves without their backcourt, they're not going anywhere. They're not going past this next round. Yep, that's going to catch up with.
It's OKC and somebody from the East. I felt a little bit better about the Eastern Conference, but I don't know. Maybe the way things have gone, Detroit, Orlando could come out. You know what? It might be the Knicks. You know why? Because if Boston gets knocked off, then the Knicks have a clearer shot. But again, they're like gold one night and like ginger the next night. The Knicks.
I'm not buying the Knicks. I'm not buying the Knicks because of coaching.
Oh, come on. Come on. You don't like Coach Brown. You don't like Coach Brown, huh?
I think I don't.
Wow.
Coaching. The other night was not about the Knicks. It was about what Atlanta couldn't do. Let's see if Mike Brown can get them to the finals. Because if he doesn't, you know what might happen.
I want to know the reason. We have to go into that another time. Yeah. Why you don't like? Why you don't have faith in Coach Brown?
I don't, because he hasn't shown that he can get them to the promised land. Whether it was Cleveland, whether it was with the Lakers, whether it's with Sacramento. I think Mike Brown is not enough of a coach with that roster to get him to where the Knicks want to be, which is in the finals. Now, another team up and coming, Sacramento, I thought was perfect. But then he depleted that roster. He moved on from some pieces, DeRozan. Then they got rid of him. I think Mike Brown outkicked his coverage with this situation. I don't think he's going to get him there, and I think the pressure is going to be on him unless they break that roster up.
Well, Coach Pettaway, he's defending, he's blocking shots.
Yep.
He's doing all of that, and at the end of the day, he is going to be the sacrificial lamb because he's a head coach.
Right.
But players have to buy in. Players got to be able to get things done. You got to strategize and all that good stuff. You are a Mike Brown hater. We'll just put it that way. We'll just put it that way.
I thought it was a pretty hire when they hired him. I mean, I don't know what coach was going to be able to, with the pressure that's on that franchise, is championship or finals or bust. I don't know what coach would be a good fit. I just thought Mike Brown was a peculiar hire. We'll see. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna come on here and say I was dead wrong.
It's called the owners and management. They had a defensive coach, but no, that wasn't good enough, Coach Pettaway. And so they let him go. Yeah. So sometimes you got to get in the right situation. It's all in the timing. Want to thank everybody. Let the conversation continue on. You want to watch next week and the next week and the next week. Mm-hmm. It's going to be some interesting conversation going on. For everybody involved, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. And I'll never be satisfied with a 1-10 non-conference record.